Hey everybody, so in this tutorial today we are going to make a floral wreath border that looks like this, and mainly we're going to be using my April Flowers, let's see here, the April Flowers color palette collection, which right now is a freebie from my newsletter, and this color palette collection is really nice. I actually used photos I took of flowers in the Côte d'Azur as the basis for these colors, so they're very real. And we're going to use that color palette collection, but you can use any color palette collection you want. And we are going to use quite a number of my, let's see, romantic English garden brushes and some of my modern impressionist brushes, and just a touch of sparkle from my Creative Couture Styles collection. So let's just start with the wreath border here. And I'm going to just take all the stuff that I've already done and hide that right now. And I'm going to show you what I started off with. So I actually picked this green from my solid color palettes that's in this collection here as my base. And I wanted the center to be slightly darker, and that kind of emphasizes that depth effect. So I went over here to my left and I took my ellipse tool and I simply drew an ellipse like this, but I'm just going to undo that because I already have that here. And then I selected the ellipse layer and the background layer, and I centered it and made sure it was pretty center. So that's what we're going over. And then let's see, what did I do? Okay, so I'm going to create the main layer for the wreath with the flowers, and we're going to go over here and select my pattern stamp tool. We're going to go to our brushes, and we are going to look for the romantic English garden brushes, and I've just got them kind of over here. And it's going to look different every time. I didn't even mark which brushes I used, but basically grab a brush, and I'm just going to start with this number 17. And then we've got our color palettes here that are part of this collection. We've got like 30 different ones, and I'm getting some of the ones that have some of the floral ones rather than the greens. So I'm going to start with number 8 here. And I just kind of play around, but I'm making just some marks there like this, and then I'm taking different brushes. So I'm going to take brush number 21. I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom of it, grab this color number 27, and I'm just kind of like having fun with it because I want it to be not always the same all the way around. So I'm going to grab, let's see, brush number 24, and I'm just this is exactly how I did it before. I am just randomly picking some colors here. I'll go with number 26, and because it's like giving you different stuff for each one you do, so I'm kind of like echoing it a little bit on the either side, and you can kind of add some of the same ones on the other side. And even I have some of this brush here and here, but I'm just going to grab another color. Why not just add touches of it wherever and just kind of fill in these gaps around the border. And I am just having that. That's the cool thing is I like that. Let's see, 13. Let's see, 13. 13 is kind of a good one when you want a big watercolory sort of one. I'm going to grab the palette. I was kind of using a lot of these palettes at the bottom towards 25 to 30. I'm going to grab 25. And yeah, just kind of have fun with it. And, you can redo the mark if you don't like it or undo it. But I'm just having a little fun with it, not worrying about having anything perfect. Here, I'll grab brush number 11. Let's go up here and let's grab this. Ooh, number 9, that looks good. So I'm just grabbing all kinds of stuff and painting a nice, interesting border. And then let's grab number 9. I forgot about these colors up here. I'll grab a 3. So I am simply just not doing anything special. I am grabbing random brushes from my romantic English garden brush collection, and I am grabbing random color palettes. I'm going to take brush number 1 here, and I'm grabbing random color palettes from my April Flowers I like brush number 1. It gives you some strong, real strong floral shapes. So I am just grabbing random ones and having fun and you know, enjoying the, you know, the unexpectedness of how it's going to come out. So that's what makes this really fun. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. So it's, and it just turns out different each time. So this is a technique that you can use and, you know, really just make it your own. So every time you do it, you'll come out with a different kind of look. So that's good enough. And then what I thought I would do with this, then what I like to do, let's see, I'm just going to hide that up there. Okay. Is I wanted to add a little bit of a drop shadow to it. So I'm going to go here to look at what my other ones that I already made. I added a drop shadow to this, and I actually grabbed one from my drop shadows in my default style collection, which, you know, if you're a member, you can download this, but I'm just going to turn this on for just a hot second. I'm going to copy that drop shadow that I have in there and paste it on there here. And it's just a basic drop shadow, but one thing that I changed is rather than the blend mode being multiply, I turned it to linear burn. And I like that when I like to use a linear burn as my drop shadow sometimes if you want the colors to be more pure and not so dull, like dull black. Because see, if I change it to multiply, it's like a little bit more dull. So I like a linear burn sometimes. So I'm going to click OK. And now we've got the basic outline of the floral wreath, which looks really cool in itself. I mean, you could throw some text in here and call it a day, but I want to add extra dimensionality. So then we're going to be adding those flowers on top. So I'm going to create my flowers now, and then I'm going to show you my little technique to kind of save time. So to start off with, looks like I had grabbed, turn these off, I'm going to make a new layer. I grabbed, of course, my pattern stamp brush, and I went back to the modern Impressionist brushes, and I grabbed brush number 2. And let's see here, oops. And now you see this is a very bold, very, you know, wild kind of color brush and very strong. But sometimes that's really fun if you're wanting to make patterns or something like that. But sometimes you're wanting something more subtle. And that's when I can take any of my brushes and take that flow down. And I'm taking my flow down to about 26%, something like that. And now when, let's see here, how did I, okay. Now when I do this, look how subtle it is. It's totally more subtle and just different, you know, just very subtle and very, the color transitions are very softer. And so I like that sometimes. So it all depends on what you're needing to do. So I'm just doing a little classic little flower shape like this. Anybody can do it. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. And I'm actually going to try to keep them all on, actually, let's undo that. I had just grabbed a random palette that looks good, number 28. I'm going to add something different. I'm going to grab number 8 here. So for each flower, I want it to be a little bit different. So I'm going to grab a different color palette. But the cool thing is this is one collection, so they're all going to go together. And I love that, like, that effect of it. It looks like this takes so long. You know, if you were doing this, like, with an, you know, with just a one color, this would be very difficult. But with these color blending brushes, it's like totally magic. So I think it's really cool. Sometimes I still think that these brushes, sometimes they still amaze me a little bit. And I will grab another one here. Let's go with number 27. So we're just going to go like that. Actually, I'm putting this a little bit low here. Edit, redo. Okay. I want to fit them all in the same layer just because it's kind of my default way to make them. And then I merge them all together. And it just kind of works out good with my workflow. So I absolutely love that. I'm actually like super in love with that. So that is the base. And now we're going to create, let's turn this off. Oh yeah. So then I grabbed Romantic English Gardens brush 19. So we're going to make a new layer. I'm going to go over here to my brushes. We're going to roll back grab, and you can just grab any of them, you know, like just any two brush strokes can make a flower really easily. But I am just going to grab the one from my thing, English Garden brush number 19. And I'm going to take my flow back up because I want this to be a little bit more bold. And I'm going to make another layer and just do like that. Just make a little touch and it's going to make this like, you know, the center of the flower. So, and I'm going to grab a different color palette for each one. So it kind of has a, so that the center is a different one than that looks cool, than the outside. I just love how the outside turns out. Sometimes it just blows my mind. Like, I'm such a nerd, but oh well, what can you do? And I will grab number 9 for this one. So I'm just grabbing random ones. As you see, it's always like experimentation and not, you know, not worrying about it being perfect. So I'll make a couple dots there. That's good enough. We are good to go. So we're going to make one last layer and we're going to add the little sparkle dots in the middle. So what did I grab? I'm going to go to my styles and go ahead and apply. I want the dots to be darker, so I'm going to scroll through here and go to Rich Glitter number 2 and just go ahead and apply that. And I'm going to go to my solid color ones. I generally, if I'm doing a style or something, a lot of times I like to use a solid color because if I have all the color changes, sometimes you'll get a white in there and it won't look so good on the style. So I tend to go with, if I'm applying a style or something sparkly, I tend to use a solid color brush. So I'm just going to keep it in a pink that's on here. That's cool. And let's go to my brushes. And I have no idea what brush I used. 84. Okay, I keep grabbing my tools, which I don't use that much. Yeah, Modern Impressionist 84, but you can really use anything you want. And I'm just going to draw some little dots in the center there. And that just adds a tiny bit of sparkle and a little bit of depth. And because, you know, I love a touch of sparkle almost on anything. And so now what I can do is I'm going to grab all these layers, hit Command G, and group them. I can duplicate my group. And now the duplicated group, I'm going to merge it. And now I have my flowers ready to go. And normally I'll just go like this, and I'll take my lasso tool, and I'll grab one like this, and I'll hit Command Shift J on the Mac. And that's going to pull that into a new layer. And then I can grab the original one again and then just grab this one. And I'll hit Command Shift J, and that cuts it to a new layer. So now I have all my flowers on a new layer. I just, I guess I don't have to I like to keep them all and draw them all on like one layer because then I can apply the layer effects universally across. And also if I'm making 3 flowers, then I'm going to have like 9 layers. So I just try to keep it kind of easy and do, you know, think about my workflow whenever I can because time is money, so that's really important. And I'm going to go ahead and convert these to smart objects because I'm going to mess around with them on the main document. And so sometimes you want to downsize them, upsize them, what have you. So I'm just going to drag them over here. Oh, they're looking pretty already. And I'll just, oh, I'm absolutely loving that. I thought the first one would be like better, but I like them all. And now I'm just going to resize them because I don't want them too big and have some different size. I think I'll leave that one on the left, that big size. It's kind of pretty. So I'll do like that. I'm liking that one too. Oh goodness. Sound like I'm in love with my work, but I am in love with my work. So, and now I'm going to take that layer style and copy that and paste it onto my other ones to add the depth to that too. So you can always right click and click copy layer style, but I always try to save time, so I use the keyboard shortcut. I'm not sure if I made a custom keyboard shortcut on this one or if this is a default one, but I make a custom keyboard shortcut for copying and pasting a layer style. So I hit Command Option Shift C and then I hit Command Option Shift V and paste it. And I'll have to see if that's a default, but that'll give me an idea for another tutorial. And so now they all have the depth, which I like. And I'm totally liking this. So this is, so that's about it. So this looks pretty much like the one that I did. And you can use these techniques and use them for an invitation design or a flyer or anything, for clip art and sell it online or doing whatever. But if you have a question, just let me know. And if you're an all access member, you're going to have access to download these source PSDs. And so you can have my source PSD and you can use them in a new design. Even if you want to, and also the flowers, you can use them, you know, in a template or whatever. So I want you guys to create items for sale. I'm not, you know, stressed about like, I have the page about extended use. I want you to make items for sale. I want you to sell them. I want you to be successful. And I'm happy for you to use my clip art as long as you incorporate it into a new design. It's great. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that and stay tuned for the next one.